Um, let's see. I wanted to bring up something that actually came in as one of the questions tonight, and it had to do with going back to the whole issue of increasing revenue, that the city can take steps to increase its revenue. And I think several of you talked about, yeah, we got the beach club, we got the Staples, you know, we got that. And this particular question was, that's great, what else? Are you suggesting those three things would actually sort of take care of a revenue issue? Or if not, what else can you see on the table that could really substantially increase our revenue within the city of Palos Verdes? And Jim, if I'm not completely wrong, I think you go now. You go first.
I am. I'm
Okay.
first. All right. Well, let me start by saying that I am not in favor of trying to milk the concessions for a lot more money. I do think that there are some opportunities there to the extent that we work in partnership with maybe with the golf club and the tennis club to increase amenities if they want to do that and things like that. But those concessions exist for the benefit of our residents. They already provide some revenue to the city. There may be opportunities for them to provide more, but it wouldn't be my goal to try and turn them into a substantially larger revenue pool for the city. I have sent a mailer specifically rejecting the idea of a new tax that would be targeted at our pension liability, although I do believe that our pension liability needs to be addressed. I don't think a new tax for that specific purpose is the right approach. I think that there is an opportunity for us to seek grants and to hire a grant writer. There's been some folks who have been sort of skeptical of that because grants are for specific projects, but the reality is the city has a lot of obligations that could benefit from grant writing. We have a ton of ADA requirements on the buildings that the city owns, and there's probably a lot of federal and state money that can be put to that purpose instead of having it come out of our general fund. So I think that is a great place for us to start. And I'm almost out of time, so I'll leave it there.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much. Dawn?
Okay, I agree with Jim in terms of not milking the concessions. I do believe there's an opportunity to create a new concession or a new service offering which could bring in more money. Concessions currently bring in about $1 million, so we're probably talking about another couple hundred thousand dollars. But you know, it all adds up. Grant writing, you know, for me, it's really more about finishing the city's strategic plan and figuring out what the priorities are. And then if you have something on the priorities list that would lend itself to a potential grant, maybe some of the infrastructure stuff, it makes sense, but I wouldn't put the cart before the horse and hire a grant writer before I actually knew what I wanted to work on, because otherwise you have a product trying to find a market. So I have a little bit of a different take on that. Although I do, you know, recognize that the police department recently got a $13,000 grant for disaster preparedness education materials. So they had a need and they found a funding source for it. So that's excellent. I talked a little bit earlier about a revenue ad hoc committee to try and identify ideas. You know, I made a post on Nextdoor. People have a lot of ideas, but we need to go through the exercise of vetting those ideas. I heard things about a farmer's market, food truck nights, a boutique hotel, day spa. I know paid parking's out there somewhere. Bill brought up transfer tax that would require shifting to or changing to a charter city, but worth investigating. Somebody told me that Manhattan Beach does federal block grant money that they then sell to other cities and transfer that into general fund. There are ideas out there. We just need to pursue them.
Thank you so much. Gain, I think you're next.
Yes, revenue. So yes, I have seen some of those ideas on Nextdoor. I've seen some ideas being shared for 24-hour parking meters. People actually love the Queens Necklace View, and maybe they'll pay to park there. The transfer tax, like Bill Silla said, other ideas of the wedding house, you know, private partnership things together with private and public where the private investors buy the land, we rent it back or something. Generally, those don't net a lot of money. And like Don is saying, some of this might be just pennies, but the pennies do add up. I would like to say that the revenue ad hoc committee, I think, is the strongest idea we have out there. And that if we can get all the ideas together, and there are very, very talented people out there. There's some very talented people actually currently on our city council that come up with some of these ideas. So if we can implement them, create an urgency to them and say, well, okay, what can we do for volunteers? I'm amazed that some of the HOAs, the sub-area HOAs, have 66 employees volunteering in the grove. So can we get those volunteers? For example, we're all competing to voluntarily lend our services and talent to the city to be on the city council. So can we get more of that? And this is actually very competitive. So there you have it.
There you do. Thank you. Bill, I think you're next.
All right. Well, I agree pretty much with what everyone has said so far. I think those are some great opportunities. There's a couple of others that come to mind. And one is, I wonder if the city should look into patrons. I had a knee problem the other day and I went to Torrance Memorial to the Lundquist Emergency Department. And Lundquist is a resident of PVE and so I got to thinking, well, so how come people don't leave money to our city? I know that happens in some cities, but it's something I think we should encourage and perhaps look into how we can get patrons signed up. Another is events. I work with the VIP program in Redondo Beach. They have their 5K, 10K run, as well as the Super Bowl 10K. And they make about a couple $100,000 off of each one of those. The Super Bowl will pull in about $300,000 to $400,000. So we have a lot of bicycles that show up in our neighborhoods on the weekends. Why not organize them into a Tour de Hill? And everybody dresses like they're in the Tour de France anyway. So why not have a Tour de Hill and make some money? Another thing to look at is perhaps some redevelopment in Malaga Cove in the shopping district. Right now, there's only one reason to go there pretty much, and that's to go to the ranch market. And then there's real estate, a lot of real estate folks there. So maybe look at some other retail and other things there.
Okay, thank you.